Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Administrative Gift 58 and says, all my friends think my 22 male girlfriend, 21 female is creepy. Are they right? Hi Reddit, I 22 male started dating my girlfriend, let's call her Alice, 21 female, about 7 months ago. We met while working on a group project for one of our college classes. From the moment I met her, I felt an instant connection. She was beautiful, smart, and we shared a bunch of common interests. Long story short, we flirted for a few weeks before I finally asked her out, and we've been happily going out since. Now here comes the problem. About a month ago, my friends and I were planning to hang out and I invited Alice. While me and Alice are from the same hometown, we met during college and a majority of our relationship has been during the school year. While we know each other's college friends, we'd never met each other's hometown friends. I know that Alice has really bad social anxiety, so I was hesitant to invite her at first. But when I did ask, she seemed nervous but really excited. The party seemed to go really well. Alice was smiling and laughing the whole time and even got to go on a rant about a topic she really liked. When it was over, she even told me while I was taking her home how much she liked my friends. When I asked my friends what they thought of Alice, they all said she seemed nice. All except my best friend, Ruben, 22 male. When I asked him, he told me that he hated her. I immediately questioned why, hoping it was them not mixing well, as I can acknowledge that Ruben and Alice are complete opposites when it comes to interests and personality. But Ruben told me he hated her because of how creepy she is and I was better off dumping her. Now this threw me off as I had never once considered Alice creepy. She's actually the cutest girl I'd ever met and I never felt more comfortable around someone as I do around her. Before I could even ask what he meant, he went off on a rant about how uncomfortable she made him and started citing stories I told him about our dates during college. Stuff like how she'd stare at me without saying anything and just enjoyed looking at me. How she ate the same meals whenever we went to dinner. How unjealous she was when a girl came up and flirted with me, or about her deep knowledge of poisons and love for murder mysteries and true crime. Both of which she could talk about for hours, but neither of which she actually talked about at the party. He said that while he wrote them off before, since they didn't seem to bother me, which they don't, but that after meeting her in person and seeing how weird and flighty she was, he can tell that she's a secret psycho and will end up either breaking my heart or physically hurting me. I tried to explain to him how any weirdness was probably just because she was nervous about meeting them for the first time. But he insisted that we've had friends SOs have anxiety before, and it was that she was plain weird. I blew him off at first because he sounded fucking crazy. Alice isn't perfect, but she's far from creepy. But after 2 weeks of telling me to dump her and me getting tired of telling him to drop it, I reached out to a few of our friends to prove him wrong. But to my surprise, they all agreed that Alice was creepy. Most of them said that the way she spoke really threw them off, which is fair since Alice can be weirdly formal sometimes, but I didn't notice her doing that at the party at all, and typically it's much more funny than unsettling. Most of my friends told me it wasn't enough to break up with her since they still genuinely found her sweet and fun to be around, but I did have one other friend say it was worth breaking up over, and he was just too embarrassed to tell me at first. I have no plans of breaking up with Alice because of all the stuff they're calling creepy. I find cute when she does. But are they right? Is it creepy she does that stuff? Should I talk to her about it? Should I just tell my friends to fuck off and ignore their concerns? I feel bad for even questioning about this, but with all my friends agreeing, it's starting to gnaw at me. And I just need some clarification if it's actually creepy or they're just being dramatic. Now, I find Ruben's behavior to be the weird one in this situation. After meeting and then asking your friends, Ruben immediately comes out with that he hated her and immediately turns to you that you're better off dumping her. And then seems to remember a load of your past dating history with her, which I just found weird in itself. How she'd eat the same meals when you went to dinner, how unjealous she was, and how she has a knowledge of poisons and a love for murder mystery and true crime. That's weird, is it? And what jumped out to me is that about 2 weeks after you reached out to your other friends, and I kind of felt like, is Ruben just gone around talking, because he seems like that type from the behavior we've seen already, gone around to the other friends and started talking shit about Alice to them, so now they're saying the same thing to you. To me, she sounds really nice, and I'd be reevaluating your friendships from this, because that's weird behavior on their behalf, in my opinion. But Grumpo Pumpo says, she sounds wonderful. As a neurodivergent woman, I've been seen as the creepy girl by neurotypical people because of the way I talk and my intense interests. No offense, but your friends sound boring and not accepting of people who aren't like them. If she makes you happy, then that's all that matters. I have a lot of the same traits, and when I started dating my husband 6 years ago, he got a lot of criticism for dating me. Now we aren't friends with those people, and they're still alone while we've been happily married for 3 years and are expecting our first child. Date the weird girl. We can be pretty fun. Zoo says everything you described about Alice makes it seem like she is autistic or at least neurodivergent, and it is well known that neurotypicals find neurodivergent people weird even if they don't do anything wrong. I am also into true crime documentaries because I love understanding the psychological aspects of it all. Doesn't make me a psycho. Please trust your own judgment and don't be influenced by your friends. I did find her nice, there weren't any real red flags. Newbune says, as a woman who has, in my past, been like this, I only ever wanted to find someone who loved me and my weirdness, almost like no one truly understood me or cared enough. I've now found that, and I am 35. So if she is just a little weird, with no underlying psycho, it matters what no one thinks, and do not let that influence your decisions. My biggest advice is being supportive and taking an interest in listening to her passions. She kinda sounds like she is nice and possibly loyal, but I don't know her. That's the kind of girl you want to cherish and protect. Speaking from experience of myself. And B says, so he's uncomfortable with her staring at you, eating the same meals as you and trying to be cool around you when girls flirt. That is odd. That's all very normal things. As far as the true crime stuff goes, that interest is actually very normal as well. That's why it's one of the top TV/movie categories in our country. The fact he's continuously telling you to dump her and borderline obsessing over it, I would assume he has a crush on you. He sounds jealous. You need to talk to him because his behavior is completely inappropriate and cruel towards her. So around 9 or 10 days later, OP comes in with an update and says, wow, thank you all so much for your helpful comments and validation. I'm glad you all agree that the stuff Alice is doing wasn't really creepy. Anyway, to get into the meat of this update. Since I posted originally, I spoke with each of my friends individually and talked to them about what they said. Pretty much all of them apologized, and some of them even offered to apologize to Alice herself, which at the time I said no to since I didn't really want them interacting with her, but we'll get back into that later. The only one who didn't apologize, as I'm sure you guessed, was Ruben. I want to address some comments suggesting that Ruben could either be attracted to me or maybe even Alice. I don't think either of those are true, as Alice is the first girlfriend Ruben has ever acted like this with, even though I've dated plenty of girls, and Alice isn't his usual type. He may be still attracted to her. I mean, she is fucking gorgeous, but I've known the guy since 3rd grade, and so I know he's pretty picky about the girls he's with. So I don't think it's that, I think he's just a major dick. I've known Ruben literally my whole life, since our mums were college friends and moved close to each other when we were young. With so much history, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt by just asking him to drop it since I didn't really care if he found her creepy. I really liked her and he'd just have to deal with it if he wanted to continue being friends. He didn't apologize or even say he was wrong, but he did agree to stop commenting on it. Which isn't perfect but works for now, as I consider if I really want to continue being friends with him. Yesterday, I met up with Alice for a casual date. It wasn't anything fancy, just a home picnic. I have really bad allergies, so we couldn't do it outside. We have some candles and our favorite foods, and we watched movies and dissected our favorite tropes. About halfway through our 3rd movie, Alice brought up Ruben, that she heard about an upcoming car show/auction her dad told her about, and she remembered me saying that he loved vintage cars and suggested the 3 of us and a friend of hers who was also into cars go together, so she could get to know him better. It felt crazy that she suggested this days after mine and Ruben's fight, and it made me feel sick with how sweet she was being to such a jerk. I gave some weak excuses about how she hates car shows and doesn't have to do that, or how Ruben wouldn't be comfortable doing that. My girlfriend being the angel she was, she could tough through it, or even just let me and Ruben go together if he wasn't comfortable with her yet. And she'd even pay for the tickets because it was a private showing. This was the point I broke and told her everything that happened. She took it really well and just calmly listened while I rambled through my explanation, and ended up apologizing to me about weirding out her friends. I tried to explain it wasn't her fault and she didn't need to apologize. As a lot of you suspected, she ended up telling me how she believed she was autistic, but since she hadn't gotten an official diagnosis, she wasn't comfortable telling people. After a lot of guilty back and forth between the two of us, she told me she didn't want me cutting off my friends since they did apologize and didn't say anything cruel, just pointed out her neurodivergent tendencies, which aren't an insult to her. But I put my foot down that I for sure wouldn't be bringing her around Ruben anymore, and planned to distance myself from him and my other friends for the time being, which she agreed was fair. She also wants to meet up with my friends who want to apologize to her since they seem genuine in their regret. Overall, things turned out pretty well, and thank you all so much for your input. And I just come out of this thinking how Alice just sounds like an absolute wonderful person. All the way I was thinking about this is, Alice's interest in poisons, and I thought, I've never really thought about poisons before, but now that I'm thinking about it, I want to learn more. And true crime as well, and she was trying to get you involved with Ruben and taking her friend to meet him, etc. She just sounds like an absolute wonderful person. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Ayaka Shadow and says, my dad said he wishes he had a son rather than a daughter. I apologize in advance for my bad grammar or spelling. I'm writing this quickly and on a phone. I 17 female and not very close with my father, 41 male, due to him not wanting to spend much time with me. When I was little, me and my mum, 39 female, did lots of fun activities together, and she always played with me and entertained me, resulting in us having a good relationship now years later. But whenever I tried to get my dad to play with me or watch something with me, he'd be uninterested and tell me to go play with my mum. This happened practically every day, with me wanting to watch him work on his car or ask him to play, but he always pushed me off, and as I grew up, I believed that my dad just didn't like me. So I asked him to play or teach me stuff less and less. He would only do stuff with me on my birthday and holidays, though he always made sure I was fed when I was hungry, and if I was upset, he'd comfort me. But other than that, he would avoid me. Now to today. I was in the kitchen getting a snack and my dad was outside in the backyard on the phone with one of his friends. I could hear what he was talking about from the open kitchen window, but I was ignoring it until he said my name in their conversation. I listened in more and heard him telling his friends that he wished he had a son more than a daughter, because he never wanted a girl and didn't try to build much of a relationship with me because of it, and said he'd tried to get my mum to have a second kid to see if he could get a son. But my mum didn't want 2 children at the time, so he just ignored me when I was able to walk and talk, so he could focus on other things and let my mum raise me. I went to my room after hearing this and I'm writing this now. I want to tell my mum because of how hurt I feel, but I also don't want to cause an argument between them since they are really close. Does anyone have a few suggestions on what I should do? Should I ask him about it or just tell my mum? Now part of me is thinking on this one immediately that your mum's going to already have some sort of hint of what's going on. I mean, you spent most of the time playing with her and I'm sure she would have picked up on your dad sort of rejecting you like that time and time again when you've tried to spend time with him. But absolutely tell your mum about this situation. I can try to put myself in your mum's shoes, and of course you'd want your child to talk to you and tell you about how they're feeling, how they're hurting, so you can try to help them in some way. But Girl with Dragon Tattoo says, wow, please share this with your mum because you have done/said nothing wrong. You heard something wildly hurtful and you deserve support. Your mum is allowed to be there for you and address what he said. If that's too much, just share this post. You've done a wonderful job of capturing your feelings. I'm so sorry. You deserve a good and caring dad, and his own selfishness, ego, and insecurity holding him back from appreciating you for exactly who you are just that, his. You are articulate and empathetic despite his lack of maturity. Not because of it. Extension Pay says talk to your mum about what you heard him say, but back it up for the years of feeling unloved because he didn't spend any quality time with you. I'm sure your mum must see it on her own, which may be why she tried extra hard to spend quality time with you. One day your father will wonder why you have no relationship with him, especially if you have children, and especially their boys, and you don't bring them around to him. Ray Evangel says, I unfortunately found in early life I had a wonderful mother and a sperm donor. He was unable to look past his wants to ever be anything more. I will tell you what I learned then. I love my father because he is part of me, but I sure as hell don't like him. I was really lucky in having my dad come into my life because I immediately saw the difference between the two. He is not my father by DNA, but he is in all the ways that really matter. Point being, blood is a tenuous tie. It unfortunately means nothing without choices and action. You'll find people who choose, and you choose to be your family. Although it feels very wrong now, I know you're wonderful and deserve every bit of love he could have given you. He actively chose not to, and that makes him a sad and sorry human being and says absolutely nothing about you. One more comment from Simple Raven, who says, I'm in a similar situation. My parents left China to escape the one-child policy and both wanted a daughter, but my mum was accepting of a second son. My own dad, however, made it quite clear to pretty much everyone in our family how much he wished I was a girl instead of a guy, because he wanted a younger daughter and an older son. And when I say quite clear, I meant he also made sure I knew it too. Now imagine being a young toddler. One of your parents just told you straight to your face that he doesn't like you. Naturally, you get confused and think maybe you misbehaved or something, so you tried for years in some naive hope to try and win some of that fatherly love, only to realize it's hopeless and give up in your early teens. Yeah, that bridge burned. It sucks, OP, to know that one of your birth parents doesn't want you. That bridge was burnt before it was ever built. The best thing to do would be to let your family know, and in my personal opinion, show only the bare minimum level of respect to the sperm donor. So OP did update the post and says, Hi everyone, I have a short update for my situation from my last post. I firstly want to say how grateful and heartwarming seeing your comments were, and your kind words really helped along with a few people who messaged me asking if I needed someone to talk to. I really love you all. On to the update. My mum got home from work and I waited until she wasn't busy to talk to her. I asked her to come with me to my room, and once we're both in there with the door closed, I told her what I overheard and how I felt. Not just about his hurtful words, but also how I felt my whole life with how he treated me like I'm a stranger. My mum was quiet as I talked, and once I finished, she hugged me and told me how she's really sorry, and hugged me while telling me how I'm the best thing to ever happen to her, and that it didn't matter that I'm a girl because she'd love me either way, and that's how parents should be, and she'd always be there for me. After a bit, she went to confront my dad, who just admitted it. They got into an argument, from which it ended up with him going to stay at my grandma's house for a bit. I'll add another update if anything new comes up. Edit, I forgot to mention, but my mum also told me that she's been doing her best to fill both of the roles for my mum and dad since my dad wasn't. Update 2. Wow, first off I want to say thank you to everyone who commented on my last 2 posts. I've been given a lot of advice and support, which I really want to say thank you for. You have no idea how much it means to me. On to the update. My dad came home last night and my mum was hesitant to let him in the house, but he said he needed to talk, so she let him in. He and my mum sat in the living room and he started apologizing for what had happened and was telling my mum and he that he regretted what he said and would step up and be a better father to me and to make things right. My mum told him that what he did was not acceptable in any way and that it's not a matter of where apologizing will fix it. I then asked how exactly did he plan to make up ignoring me my whole childhood, not being a dad to me, and how I'm turning 18 in a couple of months, and then I'll be an adult and won't be a child anymore. I then said ignoring me all my childhood and pushing me away because of what's between my legs was a horrible thing, and I don't forgive him. He started apologizing more and had some tears in his eyes, which sort of surprised me, but my mum asked me to head to my room, so I did. I could hear my mum saying stuff and then my dad leave the house again. She came into my room after and told me that she would not be allowing him in our home anymore and gave me a hug before telling me she texted his mum the night before he left for a few days about what happened. Apparently my grandma tore into him and kicked him out, so he had to stay at one of his friends' house. It kind of felt to me that he just wanted to come back because, especially with that last line, because he had nowhere else to go. His mum didn't want him in that house, so he's going to try and wrangle his way back in the house. And I was just like OP when I was listening to that. It's like, how the fuck are you going to make up like 18 years of neglect already. You bloody Burke. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I was going to end the video there, but I was sent this crazy Bridezilla story, which came from insane people on Facebook and r/choosing beggars. And I will start off by saying, there's a lot of people saying this one was fake, and you're going to see why. But a lot of people saying, this went absolutely viral. It went on news places, and there was interviews done. I don't know. I've scanned through it, and it is wild as shite. So if you do want to skip it, as always, timestamps are always down in the description. It will be the last story of the video, so feel free to do so. I just wanted to include it anyway because it's just crazy. So the title of this one was Bridezilla with a crazy weight-based dress code goes viral. It was on Facebook, and the first Facebook post says, "Hey everyone, who's ready for Hawaii 2019? In anticipation of the wedding, and believe me, I know it's a long way away, but I would still like to announce the dress code. I'm giving you a long notice of 1.5 years so that you will have time to find and pick out something nice. The dress code is very specific because it will be used to create an incredible visual effect. If done right, it will make our synchronized dancing along with the redacted beach really pop. So, without further ado, women 100 to 160 pounds, green velvet sweater, orange suede pants, Louboutin, sorry about that pronunciation, heels, the famous red-heeled shoes. When we spin and lift our feet, the effect will amaze you, and a Burberry scarf. Men 100 to 200 pounds, purple fuzzy jacket, soda hat, all white trainers, plain glow sticks. Women 160 pounds plus, all black sweater and pants, any material, black heels. Men 200 pounds plus, all camouflage, black sneakers. Children, red from head to toe. Remember, the kids will form the shape of a heart. It needs to be a true red, not blood orange or some bullshit. Additionally, we will require that you wear formal attire after the dancing has ended. Please bring a change of clothing. Remember, the venue is extremely upscale, and we want to be looking our absolute best, ladies and gents. Please, if you look like trash, so will we. All jokes aside, we want you to invest in an outfit valued at least $1,000. This includes jewelry, accessories, makeup, and hair. Remember, ladies and gents, the wedding is 24K themed for a reason. You have 1.5 years to get working. No excuses. Mwah. And then someone made like a paint mock-up of the outfits just so you can picture it. Sorry, podcast users, you're not going to get that, unfortunately. And obviously the wild ass post made it to Reddit and was shared on Facebook secretly and all this sort of stuff. So the person from the original post made another Facebook post and said, "Hello invitees, a very important update, please read. It's come to my attention that someone went all the way down in this group's creation to screenshot the dress code requirements. The screenshot was taken wildly out of context and has gone semi-viral on Facebook and Reddit. I've seen my post twice on my regular Facebook account. I could not be more crushed, betrayed, or saddened. I trust each and every one of you so intimately. Knowing someone went behind my back and made fun of me is one of the worst feelings everywhere. And boy, you will be paying. Therefore, I'm announcing one of the most unique parties you will ever be invited to in your life, besides my actual wedding. In honor of the snitch who sold me out, I will be hosting the first ever polygraph party at my house this Saturday at 8 PM. Bring your inner Sherlock Holmes because we'll be hunting out the snitch who put me on blast. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. We just bought a real polygraph test for $99 on Amazon. After the testing is over, we find the rat who did this. We will all celebrate with drinks and appetizers. If you can't make the polygraph party, you will be presumed guilty unless you can provide a valid excuse. We can make this party a unique and good one that will be told for years to come. I promise, as long as you're innocent, you have nothing to worry about. I highly suggest whoever did this, just tell me. I won't retaliate. I will simply cut all ties in communication with you and talk shit about you for a long, long time. If you have any information about who violated my trust and my wedding planning, I will give you $100. Next, if any of you are unhappy with the dress code requirements, it's okay. You can come talk to me. Instead of participating in the dance, you can help the crew clean up after dinner, volunteer to take videos of our dance, or even contribute to the honeymoon. Anything counts. Finally, I am outraged at the comments these internet trolls have made about the dress code. Do you fucking know me? Do you know why we are doing things this way? No? Then shut up. Go back down your scum basement and play video games and never fucking make comments about people you don't know. My husband and I are certified spiritual healers with over 10 years of experience. You all know this. Our wedding colors, fabrics, and intimate synchronized dance are something we hold very dear to our hearts. The expensive clothing represents the riches we wish to come. The black and camouflage outfits represent the aura of the devil that we must shoo away. What? The soda hats that represent our wishes for an abundance of life-saving liquid. You get the picture. We met at a psychic's desensitization chamber over 12 years ago in Italy, as you all know. Why not bring our traditions and beliefs into our wedding? Would you show up at an Indian person's wedding and make fun of their culture and their tradition? If not, don't judge ours. Anyway, I'm so tired of having to explain myself over and over. Please keep me updated. So then the OP comes in with the polygraph party results. Many of you all have been asking how Saturday's polygraph party went. It was fantastic. Attendance was 100%. The $99 polygraph machine from Amazon was a bit shitty, but it did the job. I asked you all simple questions such as, did you leak my dress code to the internet? And do you secretly hate me? Friends, it was with only the deepest joy that I can announce that the identification of the snitch. My former friend Stephanie was immediately removed from my property. She confessed to leaking my posts and ridiculing me online. My original dress code has gone viral because of her, and the outside world will never fucking understand thanks to Stephanie. Good riddance. Now the Hawaii 2019 wedding can go on. Thank you to all my friends, Lynn, Jackie, Christy, and Jax. You were very helpful in allowing me to set up my polygraph text and eliminate the snitch, Stephanie. Dress code update. Please buy your soda hats ASAP. We'll be hosting another event in a few weeks in which we'll be modifying them. If you would prefer a helicopter hat, by all means go buy one. Time is of the essence. Ladies, let me be clear. Your secondary outfit must total at least 1K. We are 24K themed after all. Please submit your photos of your synchronized dancing outfits no later than 1 month. I'll be telling each and every one of you what is wrong and how to improve it. One of the commenters found a couple of comments below that on Facebook, so I've only got the Facebook screenshot, but it said, this is from like people that was invited, and said, I already declined when I heard about the dress code. I don't think I'll ever go to another function again knowing I would have to pay for the ugliest freaking clothes ever or clean up as a guest. I'll only go to Hawaii to see my son, as he doesn't tell me to wear heels on the beach. Also, you can't get a real polygraph on Amazon. Anyone who believes that is stupid. Professional spiritual healer my ass. Telling people to spend an ungodly amount of money on tacky fabrics / color choices is no way of making anyone feel better. It's just for you to laugh at years down the line of how you conned your friends into looking like asses, dancing like dolphins on the sand in heels. Did I mention heels on the beach? The sandy frickin' beach? So I can guarantee it wasn't me who snitched, but dang, I wish it was, so you wouldn't reach out to me for someone's shoulder to cry on. Maybe my RSVP won't give you the hint, but the pile of horse crap I ordered to be delivered to you will. Someone shares another thing from Facebook and said this is the outfit example apparently, and then shared one of the outfits, which is like a suede type black jumper, suede trousers. Is it suede? I think it's suede, like red trousers, and then some massive black high heels with red on the bottom of them. Someone replied to that, said, Jesus. Someone else said, Jesus didn't die on the cross for us to look like 1K hot garbage. And then someone shared the picture of the Amazon $99 USB polygraph thing, which has only got 3 stars from 73 reviews. And unfortunately, the wildness just stopped there. Whether the wedding happened or not, I don't know. Was it even all real? I don't know. But there was a lot of people, saying this is absolutely, it's got to be a parody. This is ridiculous. It didn't happen. Now, I've seen some wild shit before, so I don't know anymore. Reading all these stories has properly cooked my brain. But what do you guys make of this one? As I said, I just added it on the end for a little bit of whatever you want to make of it. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories. I really do appreciate your time, honestly. Like, I think about it every single time I'm reading these stories. I'm even thinking about it now, you know, I'm waffling on and talking shit and you're still sat there listening to me and I'm like, bloody hell, I'm still wasting their time. I'm sorry, I'm going to hurry up now. Thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.